Welcome to the next episode of the Professional Evil Fundamentals. I'm Kevin Johnson, and this episode we're going to talk about the targets, or at least some of the targets that are built into SamuraiWTF. The idea behind this is that you'll be able to use these targets to practice and explore, and most importantly, learn in a safe mechanism, safe place, where you're not under risk of accidentally attacking something you don't have permission for or causing issues. Not just issues on a back end, right? If you were to practice against securideas.com and, maybe there'd be an issue there. But more importantly, issues like you're on a corporate network because you're learning at work and your traffic is leaving your machine and it's triggering alerts in your security operations center, or people are freaking out. So SamuraiWTF comes with a bunch of targets, some of them created by the Samurai Project, others open source projects that we've brought in to make available to you. And they all have different focuses and things to practice with. So here we go. As you can see, I've got burp running in the background, and I have Chrome. And I have, as we've talked about in previous fundamentals, I've set up Chrome to use burp as its proxy using Foxy Proxy. Now, we've got 5 tabs open. I've preloaded those tabs with the basic websites, the targets. And you'll see, if I move back here, that if I look at the if I look at the proxy history, you'll see where we have traffic coming through. And as we've talked about in previous fundamentals, if we click on a request, right, and I'm just going to move this up so we can see it a little bit better, you'll see the request, and here in this case it's a post to socket.io, and then we look and we can actually see the response. Okay, now for this fundamentals we're not going to worry about burp. I'm just having it capture because I wanted to set this up as realistically as we would in a real training session or practice session. So we go to dojo-basic and we find that dojo-basic.wtf is quite often the first target website people will go at. It's the most simplistic. It's really designed for a lab environment, practices during classes. But you'll notice that when you come to it the first time, the database doesn't exist. So what we do is we actually come in here and we go to reset db.php, and you'll see that it says setting up the databases. Now, after you do that first time, you shouldn't have to do that again. And you'll see, hey, here is the website. And we have the ability to register an account. And I'm going to register an account, I don't know. Right? This is my signature. I can't spell. I don't know why it matters. And notice I say this is my signature from registration. I like, especially in freeform things like this, and I'm going to tell it not to save the password, to use a signature, or in freeform text blocks, use a value that is unique to that input. So that if I see it again, like here, I know, hey, that's my signature from registration. So when we look for other things like cross-site scripting, we'll know where that input came from, right? Notice I don't do it for everything. Like I don't put this is my username or this is my password or stuff like that. As we go through Dojo Basic, you'll notice there's a variety of things here that work, that we can play around with to test or use for exercises, right? So that's that one. Now let's go over to mutillidae. And mutillidae is, it's the hardest to spell target. Adrian Crenshaw created the project, then Jeremy Druin took it over. It's a type of WASP, Web Application Security Project, right? You see, first time we've come to it, it also says database server appears to be off online, right? Let's set up and reset that database. It says, hey, no errors were detected, so now let's go and redirect to the front page. And just like with Dojo Basic, you've got the ability to register an account, log in. You have a couple other things here, pointers to point out. Notice it says hints are enabled, so I could toggle those off, so I stopped getting those. I also like to toggle those pop-ups. It does irritate me a little bit. I'm sorry, they were turned off. That it pops up to tell you they're disabled, right? While you're practicing, you tend to not want to hit reset DB. That resets it to a default state. So if you've created users or whatever. Another thing that you want to see is, excuse me, right? This security level. We are actually able to toggle that security level through a series of more difficult to bypass. Like in one click, it goes to, now it has client-side security, then it has server-side security, and then it goes back to hosed, right? What I like to do is have people start with hosed. That way there's no security, everything seems to work. Then as we want to practice more, we will toggle that security to higher levels. You'll also notice that you have a menu that's broken up by a variety of different types of flaws. mutillidae does not attempt to pretend to be an application, right? It's not like, hey, we're an e-commerce site. It is actually just saying, hey, here are the specific vulnerabilities. You pick one, like security misconfiguration that I've selected over here, and you'll notice that you'll get a submenu of different problems that relate to that OWASP top 10. You also have some web services. You have some interesting HTML5, very client-side type things, and then some miscellaneous vulnerabilities. So that's mutillidae. DVWA, or Damn Vulnerable Web App, is very similar to mutillidae. Sorry, Ryan Dewhurst is the project lead of this one, right? And you'll notice it says, hey, I'm here. Do you want me to reset my database? Create it. Yes, I do. Come through here, make sure that everything worked, and we go into the login. The login is admin and password. Again, I don't want to save that. And just like mutillidae, you have the ability to reset the database. You also have some instructions. And then you have a breakdown of things based on the type of flaw that it is. So for example, command injection, and we can come in here and enter in an IP address, see what happens, right? Gives us output that we could play around with. Just like with mutillidae, you do have a security level. It sets up for impossible to start with, so a little difficult, right? And just like with mutillidae, I would recommend starting with something like low and then build up, right? So that you can start playing around with stuff, okay? Now, the last two targets that we have on here to talk about are Dojo-Scavenger and Juice-Shop. Now, these two targets, we'll start with Dojo-Scavenger. They are designed to be capture the flag type exercises. Both applications are set up to mimic a real application. Samurai Dojo is geared to mimic a company website, and Juice Shop is set up to mimic an e-commerce system, right? Now, the real big difference between them, other than Juice Shop is way more mature and has tons more functionality and flags to find, is that Samurai Dojo is really just a quick and dirty CTF. You're looking for flags. They are a string. If you look at PWAPT 101, PWAPT 101 uses Dojo-Scavenger as the CTF, so it'll walk you through what the flags look like and what have you. Whereas Juice Shop actually has a scoreboard for you to use. And as you do things, it will actually come up and tell you, hey, you'll get a pop-up that says, you've got a flag. And then one of the very first flags, and so I won't ruin it here, is to find the scoreboard. Once you find the scoreboard, each flag is actually something to try to do. For example, logging into an administrator account, using a type of vulnerability, or what have you. So it's really a great way to practice all of your testing techniques in one application. I love Juice Shop. It's a great little target there. So those are the 5 targets we're going to talk about today. We're adding new targets to Samurai constantly. The easiest way to find out all of the different targets that are configured in a Samurai system is really just to open up a bash prompt. And this is such a horrible way to do it. We really should put a menu option or something like that. And if you cat etsy/hosts, you'll see that we have the domain names set up right there. We have a cores demonstration and target, a muck security, which is designed to be the pen testers website when they go out for testing and what have you, are the current other ones that are on here. So, like I said, thank you very much. I look forward to hearing your questions and comments about this video. And if you want, you can always reach us at the Professional Evil Slack or email us at training@securideas.com.